when we get into AI, there is a guy sitting behind a computer typing in a prompt, and that's it. It eliminates Unreal Engine, it eliminates actors, it eliminates this whole space, it eliminates all of us. So, how do you feel?
Now that you set it up like that?
You can already do it.
You can already do it.
Why do we need AI?
AI just makes everything easier.
Art requires suffering.
But also perspective.
The suffering gives you perspective.
I'm trying not to judge the way people are acting in the world because we don't know any better.
I think people should start judging a little bit more. I use DaVinci Resolve to edit everything.
Sure.
There is a toggle that's AI vocal isolation.
That's nice to have, huh?
It's very nice to have.
But does that put an audio engineer out of a job?
Mr. Ian Messina.
How we doing?
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I wanted to come in. I want to talk to you about your space. Thank you for having me here.
Yep.
Appreciate it. Do you want to tell me a little bit about StudioLab?
Yeah. So StudioLab was built 2018. My uncle Tim had bought this building as a warehouse space for his company, Events United. Now, at the time, they were doing events only, right? And just like kind of like lighting, video, and audio. I had done some of their lighting work, did a lot of their kind of like recap videos. And, he called me up one day and he's like, hey, I'm looking at the studio. We're going to move in and just kind of see where it goes from there. But ultimately, as you know, COVID kind of punched us all right in the face right after that. And so, the goal for StudioLab originally that he started was to be a creative shared space, kind of like almost think of like a WeWork, but for creative entrepreneurs specifically. Because the big thing about, the overall vision is how do you bring a bunch of really talented people together? And that's generally where the magic happens, you know? And so you can do a lot of things, I think, really well on your own, but it's really great when you get everybody together, when you have great lighting designers, when you have great sound designers. And so to have a place where people can come together and really collaborate was the goal. Now, again, due to COVID, 2019 showed up around, started booking the space, and then right in 2020, well, everybody had to go home, right? And so that dream of it being that creative space kind of died quickly, and it was like, man, what do we do, right? And so it quickly pivoted from being that kind of WeWork type space to being honestly a saving grace for both the events production industry, because there were still nonprofits, there were still, large companies that needed to get their message out, but couldn't. And so this turned quickly into kind of a not a virtual production facility yet, but it turned into a virtual location where people were able to do their nonprofit events, host kind of their ability to bring people in, and people were doing church in here, people were doing their commercial events, and it was we had to be very strict, right? You only could have 3 or 4 people in the studio at a time. Masks were huge, and so even the facility that we're sitting in right now was the audio engineer space where, Chase was one of the audio engineers. He was isolated in here by himself, just mixing audio. And then in the podcast studio over there, you had somebody, switching video. And so there was enough space in the facility where, the crew that was running the Events United side of it utilized the space to really bring live events and make them possible during that time. And that's kind of how this got up and running and started from just a creative space standpoint. That then very quickly shifted into virtual production, as that's a lot of the work.
I was going to ask you about that. So first of all, this space is incredible. It's all built out. There's tons. What was it like when it was first? So Tim, he bought the building?
Yes.
Your uncle?
He bought it in 2018, and dude, it was.
Did it have anything like this in it?
No, it was an old news station. I believe if my memory is right, it was WBIN, and so they did the news here for years and years and years. It was used over and over again. again, it was bought and sold, but everything that you see here was bought or was built from scratch, right? And so
Wow.
there's a guy, all the woodwork you see here was put together by a guy named Jim. Jim is an unbelievable guy. You know, he not only understands beautiful looking wood, but he understands the physics and the sound engineer that goes inside of it, right? And so, not only do you have each piece of wood picked for the look of it, but it's also the density of the wood. If you look over here, this entire area and on the ceiling, he bent each individual piece of wood so that sound is reflected properly in this room. And so
it'd be so funny if this podcast sounded like crap.
Yeah, imagine if it was awful. But over time it transformed because of the people that showed up and worked on this building. Like, I can't tell you how many man hours went into, there's like 3 sheets of drywall thick in just this one room, because it needed to sound right, and
Sure.
So, and that's in every single one of these buildings. It wasn't like Tim came in and just hired a bunch of subcontractors. Like, he put his blood, sweat, and tears into this building,
it shows. I mean, every
does.
room, and I'm sure we'll have B-roll to like throw up at some point.
Yeah, I'll get you. There's a video of him literally with a grinder, like just grinding down the concrete out there, probably for like 2 months, just like nice and slow. He'd listen to a lot of podcasts, but his overall vision was he wanted to create a space that was beautiful. And I think they did a great job at this. And he found some amazing people to kind of come along that journey along the way to make what you're seeing StudioLab is today.
Right. So that's where I was gonna pivot to, is where it started as the more of like a WeWork kind of space. Where is it at now, and how? Like, I'm a producer, film producer, so I'm not going to necessarily use the audio engineering space. Virtual production wise is pretty cool, but how is it? Like, my audience is all filmmakers.
Yes.
Right. How does StudioLab benefit other filmmakers? What can they expect, and what kind of people should be coming here?
Yeah. I would say, as far as
Not to put you on the spot.
No, that's a great question. I think it's right now, and with the momentum that we're seeing and where it's going, is, again, this was it almost feels accidental, but also on purpose. If COVID didn't happen, it wouldn't have pushed the virtual production industry forward, right?
If COVID didn't happen, I wouldn't be in business,
right?
Like, which is so weird. Like,
it's really
everything
weird.
changed for the better.
Yes.
In the long run, for the better. But
correct.
Go ahead.
Because it pushed us out the door. It pushed us to be like, okay, what does the future look like when we can't meet together?
Well,
right?
and not only that, but for me, and I feel like a lot of people that I know that changed careers and did a whole bunch of stuff during COVID, it was kind of like, well, if we're all going to die, we might as well die doing what we love.
That's a great way to put it.
Like, it's like, okay, so you're in this, like, before 2019 and previous, everybody was like, I got to pay the bills. I'm just doing this job. And then COVID hits, and it's like, well, if we're all screwed, I might as well be screwed doing something I want to do, as opposed to something I feel like I have to do.
Absolutely. And that's definitely, I think, when people, had COVID hit, it felt like, all right, everything's falling apart. And so, we lost all of our work, and the only thing we had was time. And so it's like, where do we want to sink our time? And Mandalorian came out, 2019, 2020. And naively, I saw the behind the scenes on what Jon Favreau, like these legends, what they were building. And I was like, hey, if Disney can do it, why can't we do this? You know what I mean? And so,
literally how I started my company. Dan,
is that what you're thinking?
Little producer Dan back there. Thank you for being
here. What
here.
was on your mind for that?
Well, what was on my mind was who, like, if you like Hollywood, big Hollywood stuff, right? Saying like, oh, well, you got to do it this way. I'm like, says who?
Yeah.
Says who?
Yeah.
If you can do something, and it's like, oh, there's a big screen on the wall. So can't we just do that as well?
Why can't we do it?
Right. Who says who? Who says we can't do it?
Yeah. And again, they started when you probably saw the behind the scenes of The Mandalorian when it did come out.
Oh yeah, the volume. It's insane.
Everything. It was like, oh my gosh. And they sold it as a way like, this is the future of filming. This is a silver bullet, right? And I'm giving you the perspective that I had, because it has changed absolutely. Like, I'm not somebody who's
okay. So let me set this up, because let me be clear, because for me, I have always been a huge advocate against CGI.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of the virtual. I'm not a big fan of the volume stuff. And now, after this, the AI revolution and this little bubble that we're seeing, I go back and I'm like, okay, but at least artists are making the CGI stuff.
Yeah.
So it's totally given me a
totally
brand new aspect on everything. I was so against. I was like all practical all the time, do practical effects. Everything's on the computer now. It's like, look at this tennis ball. That's your whatever.
Yeah.
That's your dog or
It
your
doesn't
dragon.
feel real, right?
It's not real.
It's not real.
But then you have AI, and it's like, well, now we just don't even care about you at all.
No.
Go ahead, continue.
Well,
I'm sorry, but
you're
that's
good.
all my questions are. It's funny because usually I'm coming from the perspective of like I hate CGI, I hate Unreal Engine, and all this other stuff. It looks great, but like it's not real.
Yeah.
And now it's totally...
And now it's getting better, and that's where I was going. Is like they sold it as a silver bullet, and I think the entire industry was like, "Oh my gosh, we all have nothing to do. Let's go into this." Right?
Yeah.
And so I had no money at the time, but I had enough saved to buy a Vive headset and a controller. And that Vive headset and controller literally was probably like, $2,000, and it gave me the headset and, like you play Beat Saber with this thing. You familiar with Beat Saber?
Slashing
all that.
thing. Yeah.
And like that was the first taste that I got into virtual production, was just taking your hand controller, slapping it on top of your camera, and I was using that as positional data, right? Because as far as like when you do CGI and visual effects, the thing that's most important and why there's tracking markers everywhere is so that you can do what's called like a camera solve, right?
Sure.
And so instead of that camera solve happening later in your visual effects process, it needs to happen at the same time, right? Because I can't properly display an image on the back wall to trick the camera into thinking there's another world back there unless I know exactly where that camera sensor is located, both in space and in time.
Right, three-dimensional.
In three-dimensional, right? And so that was the difficult thing, and it really just started. I went home because COVID happened, and we kind of like shut down for 2 weeks. And we're just like, okay, I'm going to go home. I'm going to take this computer. At the time I had like a 1080 Ti or whatever it was. And, my brother and I just worked on a green screen with, the Vive camera tracker and a computer, and just got it working to the point where my sister, Katie, she's like an inspiration because she's an artist as well. And like we've worked back and forth our whole lives. I basically created a virtual art gallery for her, scanned all of her artwork, and we'll show it here, scanned all of her artwork in a basic Unreal Engine file, and made a video talking about how artists can share their artwork in a virtual reality, because we can't show our artwork anywhere. And once I had done that, I was like, okay, I've done that in Unreal, I've made some renders in there, and now I want to actually get it to make it look like we're actually standing in this art museum. And so shortly after that, I had gotten it up and running on literally just a 16:9 small computer monitor. And the moment that the team here at StudioLab saw that, they're like, whoa, like this is going to work. And I was just like, yeah, but I still don't know anything. I don't know anything. Like I don't know how to code. I don't know how to blueprint. And we was all learning at the same time. But once that had happened, and Tim,
what was the, I gotta back up a minute here. What was the bug for you, like, to get into, like, why? Okay, okay, so like, the like Corridor Digital, those guys, right? So you're like East Coast Corridor to me. That's what I think of StudioLab.
I appreciate that.
East Coast Corridor with nicer stuff.
They're awesome.
They're amazing. Are you kidding me? Yeah, no, they're awesome, but they're very warehousey. Like it's very editor based.
Gotcha.
And this is very like you could shoot in any of the rooms here and have it, and it's like set up,
Yeah.
Like we didn't build this for this. Like this is,
it was here, so it could be used like this.
Sure. So I look at stuff like that, and I'm like, okay, well, they're filmmakers and they're special effects artists.
Yes.
And I remember when like Xbox Kinect came out, they were doing videos using the Kinect as a 3D
tracker.
Right, using the infrared stuff.
Yeah.
Which I thought was awesome.
It's awesome.
But it started for them, at least from the standpoint of we make films. We're special effects artists for film. Yeah. How did you get into, like, why virtual production?
Yeah.
If you weren't doing films and stuff before.
That's a good point. I mean, it was just commercials for me. Like in high school, I had started my own production company and did that for a couple of years.
For commercials?
Just for commercials.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I was just like,
I did the same thing.
Yeah. It started with just like filming. Me and my buddies, like in 8th grade, started filming. Yep. I didn't want to write an essay. So for some reason, my social studies teacher said, hey, you can make a video with your 3 best friends, and I was like, yeah, what's the topic on? It's the prohibition, dude.
This is the common
It's the common thing, right?
Yep.
And like, obviously in 8th grade, what are you going to do? You're going to tell your 8th graders to make a video on drugs, sex, and rock and roll? Like, that sounds dumb right now, but like,
no, the video is sick, actually.
The video is still up on YouTube, and I filmed that on my iPhone 5 and edited on my iPhone 5. And it's like, dude, it's on a vertical, horizontal, black and white.
iPhone 5. Mine, I had I was using mini DV tapes in 8th grade, but that's fine.
We all got to start somewhere.
Yeah. That's all that was available. Somewhere. That was it.
Exactly. So you got to start it honestly comes down to curiosity. Like with everything, it always came down to curiosity.
I don't disagree with you. My question though is like there are people who are curious about, heart surgery and they become doctors.
Yeah.
So it's like it's just an interesting kind of feel. And maybe it's just the computer aspect. Were you always like a computer guy?
Yeah, I like mathematics.
That's weird.
I've always been interested
You like
in
mathematics?
I've always been interested in time.
Go ahead.
The only reason I say mathematics, it's more physics. it's more time, and I've always been obsessed with time travel and teleportation.
Did you see? I'll send it to you on Instagram.
Yeah.
They just did a quantum teleportation, they sent like a neuron or something.
Yes, back in time or something.
But like they literally, they teleported it from one spot to another spot.
Yeah.
Like it's becoming real.
Yeah, there's some weird stuff going on in reality that is just real. Like that's what keeps me up at night. That the curiosity of like, hey, if Marty McFly did go back in time, how is that possible, right? And so I grew up on those videos. Like I grew up on Back to the Future. I grew up on. There's a movie called Jumper, 2013, that was just like, man, I would love to be able to time travel or teleport. And so this, to me, the volume was something that was, man, I can't time travel, but I can for sure teleport now. And so, yeah, although it's not me jumping to an actual location yet, ideally we're hoping that's where the portal cam kind of gets in. We'll get to that. But like in the beginning when I started.
Oh, wait, there's more.
There's more.
Yeah.
It was really a curiosity with reality and things around me. Why does the world work the way it works? And so that curiosity.
And who says it has to?
And who says, is this the only way?
How far can we push the limit?
Yeah. Can you build a universe a different way? Or is this the only way you build a universe? Whether you believe in God or not, we're here. You and I are standing here. We have mics. We're recording audio. We have lights. And so we've had the ability to manipulate matter around us to even the point where we're creating nuclear fusion to power the lights around us, right? And so the human mind to me is really interesting. And I would say, to go back to your point, like where was the catalyst maybe that switched it for me, was a video that Matt Workman had done. And he was doing a basically building a video game for filmmakers. And I saw that he was doing, and he has cinematography database, and he was working with the early teams at Lux to do a demo. And I saw what he was doing. I was like, man, this could be so cool to give young filmmakers the ability to work on a 60-foot techno crane or whatever it is in your home on just a normal computer. And that's what got me in. I didn't jump in Unreal Engine first. I actually used Matt Workman's, video game engine that he built on Unreal. And I was like, this is so cool. And I got into a point where I was like, I need more control. And that's when I jumped into Unreal Engine and dude, overwhelmed by I was never into 3D pipelines. Like I dabbled in After Effects. My main,
so did you ever use like
Pro.
Blender or anything like that?
No, not even Blender.
Wow.
Like I was just like, this is a tool that makes this work. I need to learn it. And so the big point about learning anything that I'm realizing is like, you have to pick a small project to chew on, and that's where luckily I had my sister's artwork to be like, I want to make a 3D art gallery. And so that was the goal, make a 3D art gallery. It wasn't learn Unreal Engine, because if it was learn Unreal Engine, I would have given up, right?
Well, sure, because you have no direction, and it's like the possibilities are so endless.
Yeah,
you need the project to like, okay, and then how do I make this look real? Okay, I'll put this, and then you like look up the tutorials and everything else.
Yeah,
like you need that project to keep you on track.
Yes, because it's just the game engine's just going to keep crashing on you and crashing on you, and you're just like, you get so frustrated. It's like, what's wrong? Like, why do I need VLC? Why do I need this? Why do I need, and so it just kept, I call it skill stacking. You learn something now and you're not sure why, because you're going to eventually need it in the future.
Sure.
Right. And so once that whole thing happened where, I started getting in Unreal, the team at Lux made a 45-minute video on virtual production. And I just watched, that was the only video out for virtual production. That was it. And then there was a Facebook group, which the OG people in virtual production know about this Facebook group. It basically was everybody all over the world trying to get virtual production to work.
Sure.
And one of the founders there, Ben, was like trying to help people because he was the one who built this tool called End Display. I'm going to get a little bit nerdy here, but for the people that need to know where to start, like End Display is the main, software or plugin on the back end of Unreal Engine that allows you to skew the perspective so that the video wall actually looks like a portal. And so when the early days of virtual production was starting, they were coming up with these crazy file types to create a representation of a video wall in Unreal Engine. This mattered incredibly because if you don't know where your video wall is in the digital space and you don't know where your camera is, you have nothing to shoot on. You don't even know where you're starting. And so in my mind, when I got into virtual production, I was like, oh, this is going to be simple. I'm just going to take a camera, I'm going to put it on Unreal and put it on the wall. Well, that's what a lot of people did, and it doesn't look right. It's not calculated properly. You are really triangulating the perspective of where the camera is to the video wall, so that video wall can now look like a portal or a mirror into an alternate reality. And so between those two things,
to slow you down here. So for the people that think you're speaking another language,
sure.
The difference between projecting an image onto the virtual wall, right? The LED wall. And what you're talking about is when you move the camera, the frame moves around on the thing. So it always fills the camera.
Absolutely.
That's the kind of stuff that you're talking about. That's what you're trying to triangulate.
You need parallax, right? If you don't because anybody can buy a wall. And stick a wall up.
That's what they did.
And put images on the wall, right? And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people who will sell you virtual production, and then you get into that world.
And it's an LED wall.
It's just an LED wall with a photo on it.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, that is fine. Please, if you're going to start anywhere, start there. Make it work, People get excited about that.
Or come to StudioLab. Don't invest, just come here. Yeah, go ahead.
The goal with StudioLab also is to be an area where, people, the best minds in the world ideally come here and we figure out new solutions, right? Like we want to work with cutting edge brands. We don't want to be that company that's just trying to create a bunch of tools to create a bunch of tools that aren't helpful. I would rather find really talented people all across the world and ask them to come here and invite them and work with them on building new tools. The studio doesn't necessarily need to own every piece of new technology and claim it to be ours, right? I would rather find a bunch of great people and just collaborate with them.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're preaching to the choir here. Yeah. I haven't bought new cameras in 5 years because, partially because I'm a producer.
Yeah.
It's like I only need cameras to turn on, I need to be able to have a show, but normally you rent stuff or whatever else. So I don't need new stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think that's great. I think that's awesome. So what's the, now that you have it set up, now that it works, what's the future? Is it just like using the stuff now that you have it, or is it like, how do you innovate from here?
I would say it's finding, honestly, it's pivoted a little bit because I went from being the one at the Brain Bar, creating an Unreal Engine, in Disguise, all these platforms, and being like, hey, I have to be the one to do it because it's all in my mind, right? And then slowly over time, it's like, what? I can't be in 5 different places at once. And so what's been amazing is we've been able to bring on some amazing people, like a couple producers. We brought Ken on to be able to go out and tell the world about it and talk to the agencies. And then we had Blake on, who's now our technical director and is running that. And so the focus right now for me is to how do I find the people in the world that are innovating in a bunch of different areas that might not be tied to virtual production, but are absolutely tied to the creative industry.
Yep.
And not only the creative industry, but also doing business properly, right?
That's a big one.
That's a big one, right? Because we've all been in a room where, it's been fun to create, but if somebody is, for lack of a better term, using the creative talent on set and just saying, finding ways around to not pay people or whatever, like that is a big thing that's just like hit me hard.
Sure.
It's like, not only do you need good art, but you need good business.
Right. Well, that's why people should be hiring a producer.
There you go.
But this is the thing is like it's difficult mixing business. Like when I first started, I wanted to be, Spielberg, a director or whatever it is. And I found that I'm really good with the minutia of, production, keeping like small tasks, making sure that they all get done the right way, because it's very easy, not that there's anything wrong with anybody, but it's very easy when you're creative to kind of like splinter off into like, I want to try this.
Yeah.
Okay, we got to get back to the regular task.
Yeah.
Otherwise we have nothing. This is why when people say, I have $100,000 to do a movie and it can get spent in the first week without even trying.
Yeah.
Or you can stretch that out and still make a decent film
and do it properly
and make it look good.
Yes.
That's the other thing that I'm really big on is how do I make 10 grand look like $1 million and how do I make 100 grand look like 10 million?
Yeah.
And if you have the right resources and you have the right, people, you got to call in some favors, but it's really like for me, I've always preached like it's not about the gear, it's about how you use it.
Yes.
And it's true. It goes back to like, I spent all this money on a wall and I'm just projecting a photo. It doesn't do anything.
No.
Whereas if a place like StudioLab already has a place, it would be less money. It's still expensive, I'm sure, but it would be less money to come rent your space and have you do things the right way.
Yeah.
As opposed to going and trying to buy your own stuff and start from scratch. And you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Or even just like what if you do want to build your own space, just like make sure you know what you're signing up for. Sure. Right. Because like a lot of people get into this and like that's going back to the silver bullet. And Disney sold this incredibly well. But what Disney didn't tell you is they had 100 people at ILM all making that wall run. And so, I remember the first set we were on, Greg Farnham, who's an amazing DP director, we were sitting down doing interviews, and, it's like, hey, what do you think about the wall? How do you think? He's like, it's really cool. It has potential, but this thing sucks to work with, right? And I was like, well, what do you mean by that? He's like, you can't change anything. I have to shoot at 144 for my shutter speed or my shutter angle, because if not, there's going to be tearing on the wall. And like, honestly, like I can't really move the camera outside of this one perspective. And also I can't do anything real time. And so like all of these things that virtual production promised in the early days that Disney said was possible was not necessarily possible for a crew of 5 or 6 or 7. It was possible for Disney because they were able to throw millions of dollars at it. And so the goal then became, how do we make this as easy as possible to use? But not only easy, because I think it's easy to make things oversimplified. How do you maintain the control in virtual production?
Sure.
Because that was always the goal. It's like, I want to be able to animate the sun. I want to be able to, animate textures, or make sure that when my actor's walking from one scene to the next, that is nice and smooth, or even just change locations, right? Because in the early days, like, we were having to manually fire different Unreal Engine worlds, and it would take 5 or 6 minutes to go down and then back up, down and then back up. And now, in 2025 here, we're able to switch a world in 2 seconds. We can press one button and we're automatically in that next world. And so,
well, yeah, I mean, I'm thinking of it from the perspective of, again, from business and money spending. It's nice if you have the money to have 50 people on set running a wall. But if I walked into that room once everything got set up the right way, I'm looking at the head of that department and going, how do I eliminate 10 of these people? Not eliminate like they shouldn't have a job, but like, how do we... Just because I can spend $50 million...
doesn't mean you need to.
Well, it also means that, like, if I can get it down to 10, now I'm making 40.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And you're right here. It's like, once... Because again... I think
which will bring us to the next topic that I have in my head. But
but it's just like, you are right. It's like, you don't necessarily need all of these people on set that are changing things real time. Ideally, you go through the process of, you've got your pre-visualization process. Yeah, you got 10 to 20 people all working on that Unreal set, either in Blender, Houdini, whatever you want. And then it compiles, and then really you're just playing back that file and you're good to go. You might need a tracking tech, an Unreal tech, a disguise tech, and a robot tech. And then you've got 4 or 5 people operating your wall. It's how do you make it as lean and as efficient as possible? And I think the more people that we can train in those different areas, the more productions that can be done, because you don't need to be in that studio making things, all day, all week for your production shoot. You can do that on your computer. Like, the dream here for us is, how do we get people to understand Unreal Engine in these 3D pipelines so that they can build something at home by themselves,
bring it here
and shoot it.
That's sick.
Because then you're saving so much money not having to be in that volume. And so this next phase, you ask like, hey, where are we going? The next phase is really education, trying to get as many people as possible to understand the tools and the technology that is available to them, not just for the video wall. This comes down to, like, I want to get back to green screen, right? And motion capture and all these other things.
So here's the thing. So this is where I get a little weird with the stuff.
Okay, let's hear it.
Yeah. So the green screen stuff is fine.
Sure.
But it's not real. And it's very difficult, especially if you're directing or if you're dealing with actors and they're in a giant green room, and this tennis ball is supposed to be a werewolf or Frankenstein or whatever it's supposed to be. I was never a big fan of that because it's not tangible. It's not real. The thing I like about Unreal Engine and the video wall is that when the actor turns around and looks behind him,
they can see it.
They're in the world. So it's not real. It's not physical. But now anything is more possible. Yeah. It's more possible for an actor to feel like they're in the space. Yeah. Which is better for me.
It is.
And it's not like we should never use green screen. Like, there's a place to use everything. Right. I get weird when it's the only thing we use is green screen. The whole room is green and it's an actor on a green set.
Yes.
That's too much.
And I would say that's the same thing for virtual production.
That's what I'm saying. Like, these are all tools. It's not the only thing.
Yes.
But I feel like the industry as a whole, in Hollywood, in the big multi-million-dollar range of stuff is trying to simplify stuff down to the extent that now they're not using anybody.
Yeah.
And I would love
Let's get back to real practical sets, you know?
Yeah.
And I think we can.
Sick.
And like, again, going back to Greg, who's our DP, like the magic happens when your set is built out and then the video wall is just used as a background.
An extension.
And
sick.
so I want to get back to like, think about when George Lucas and all these guys built what they built. They built the physical world, but what they couldn't build was the universe out there. That's when they used green screen. It wasn't to simulate the entire starship, right? And so that's where, yeah, the actors, and even you look at Lord of the Rings when Gandalf was acting, he hated that because he's like, I didn't sign up for this. I didn't sign up to act by myself in a room alone. Yes, the visual effects needed it, and there always is going to be sometimes you have to just go to CGI completely. But I see a world where, you know, 33% is shot fully on location. 33% shot is on the volume or green screen. And then 33% is shot for visual effects. And it doesn't have to be that matchup. But when you look at how The Mandalorian was actually filmed, you look at the roll time, only 25% of those films were actually on the volume. But again, in 2020, because it was the thing to do, the marketing thing to do, it felt like, and maybe I'm wrong here, but if you go back, it felt like...
Well, it's advertising.
It's advertising.
It was the new thing.
It was a new thing.
So that's what they advertised the most of.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Like,
no, there's nothing wrong with it at all. The
thing,
again, like where we get a little controversial, let's hit on everything you want to hit on because we're going to get into AI.
Okay.
And AI is going to be like, that's the one.
Yeah.
Because I watched a talk that you did recently at the New Hampshire Film Festival.
Yeah.
And I went in with high hopes, and then I left angry.
Okay. Can I hear why you left angry?
Yeah. Would you want to get into AI?
Yeah.
Or is there anything else you want to talk about?
We'll stumble upon the other stuff of the studio, but like, yeah, let's get into the hard topic here.
Okay, so let's start here. How do you feel about you personally?
Okay.
Because, dude, I'm a film guy.
Yeah.
The thing that got me into film, I've said it on so many of the shows, so I apologize for repeating myself. The thing that got me into film was the 1933 King Kong, which was stop motion animated mixed with live action people.
Yeah.
And they built these stop motion sets with little pockets of screen that they would project the film that they had done. The actor they'd project it there. So when they took the picture, there's an actor, right, for stop motion. They move the character a little bit and advance one frame.
Wow.
When you play the whole thing back, you have an animated character and a little screen that's playing a movie of an actor.
Wow.
So they were able to combine, in 1933, a live action acting job from an actor, a live action performance, and a 1 foot tall monkey that was supposed to be 55 feet tall. It's incredible to me.
Yeah.
That made me feel like at 10 years old, I can do this in my bedroom. That's awesome. When we get into AI, there is a guy sitting behind a computer typing in a prompt. And that's it.
Yeah.
It eliminates, for me, it would eliminate Unreal Engine. It eliminates actors. It eliminates this whole space. It eliminates all of us. So, how do you feel about AI?
Like that?
That's where I'm at with it because I don't. First of all, after I would say like Avatar came out, the newer King Kong came out in 2005. Peter Jackson it doesn't look
doesn't hit the same.
Well, it doesn't look fake to me. It sells.
Yep.
It's also a movie.
Yep.
I know it's not real going into it. Why do we need Sora 2?
Yeah.
Why do we need Gemini? Like from my feeling on AI, I've asked you 7 times what your feeling on AI is, and now I'm going to tell you mine first. You like that? My feeling on AI is that it should be used and we should develop it for medical technology. I would rather we find a cure for cancer than put hundreds of thousands of people, over 500,000 people work in film and TV and entertainment.
Yeah.
Why would we put all of them out of work instead of focusing the AI on newer medications, better medications, things that keep me from going bald, as an example.
Yep.
As opposed to telling artists that we don't need you anymore because we can just type it in the prompt.
Yeah.
And I believe that we should always advance technology, but at the same time, like there are painters out there, portrait painters and everything else. And when they invented the camera, they were like, oh, well, now there's not going to be any more paintings. And there are definitely fewer, but it's now been... it's now almost more impressive when someone is a painter to me, because look at the work that they've put in. if you're working in Unreal Engine, you're building those worlds out and you're using your virtual production wall and everything else. It's incredible.
Yeah.
If you type a prompt into a computer and spit out an image, first of all, you didn't make it. You typed a prompt in and the computer made it.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not art to me.
Yeah. It's synthesized, like synthetic, you know, and this is where I need.
So I need to know your views on AI before I just rattle off why I think everything sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not. Go ahead.
This is the hard part. It's so deep, right? AI, it's
is
both,
it though?
It's, you know, when I say deep, it's both wide. The landscape is wide, like you talked about, medical device, all the way to I'm using it to just generate a stupid picture, right? But, you know, a lot of the times, like when we look at AI, the way that AI, so you have to understand where this is all going as far as why people are investing so much time, energy, and resources into AI. Because when you look at the big picture and where they're going, you realize that, this sounds stupid, but we're the product, right? Like, we think that we're putting in inputs and images and all that stuff and we're creating. Well, what we're really doing is we're training the AI as we're doing that, right? And so what they've done is they've done it really well is they want to create a model where it's not just images, but an AI that understands reality around us. And so AI, this is a deeper conversation. I don't know if we have time to get into, but when you look at,
I don't think it's even necessary to get into I'm just saying, why do we need that?
Well, I think you and I can both agree that we don't feel like it's needed or not, but where is the world going?
My point is, whenever I talk to anybody about AI and I say, oh, well, why do we need that for creative stuff?
Yep.
I'm not talking about like, okay, I use DaVinci Resolve to edit everything.
Sure.
There is a toggle that's AI vocal isolation.
Yes.
So we have the air conditioning on right now.
Yep.
I can actually turn it off right now and you can hear the way it sounds, and now I'll turn it back on and it sounds even better. Like, it's that good.
Yes. That's nice to have, huh?
It's very nice to have.
But does that put an audio engineer out of a job?
Potentially. I think that.
See, that's the hard part is like, where do we draw the line? Because there's AI that we're using right now, that I'm using right now to restore old images. I'm not creating an image from scratch, right?
You're not.
No, I'm not.
That doesn't mean that they're not.
Correct. And that's where I'm trying to figure out where the line is. And so this is
why I left your talk angry.
Yes.
Let me explain.
Good. Okay. Go ahead.
Because I was impressed that you took that on to like have that conversation.
Sure.
I wasn't angry at you.
No, that's fine.
Honestly, I was angry at the SAG lady.
Okay.
But, it was you. So let's set this up because people that weren't there, obviously. Yeah. You had a talk that was the ethics of using AI in film.
Yes.
And it was a panel that you were hosting it, and then you had
It was Tim and Jessica that was there. She was representing SAG-AFTRA. They were trying to figure out from a legal perspective how this is going to go, because AI is going to continue to develop. And the issue is, we all know the government's incredibly slow. And to be honest, I don't know how much is going to be passed. So here's
where it freaks me out, because it has so little to do with film and so much more to do with everything else.
Correct. That's why I was like, this is a deeper conversation than just creative.
But regarding this talk that you had.
Yeah.
So Tim, no shade to Tim, he built his own model that he was inputting AI stuff into.
Yeah.
There was a gentleman sitting in front of me. I was in the audience. There's a gentleman sitting in front of me who said, he raised his hand and said, you could have hired animators. And again, I'm not saying anything bad about Tim. Like, make your movies.
Yes.
Do what you want to do. I get concerned for the future because he played a section of the film. And there were shots that were completely computer generated.
Yes.
There was voiceover that was completely AI. The lady wasn't dead. You could have used her to do the voiceover. Didn't. Yeah. I don't know why.
If she is dead, is it wrong to use?
Yes.
It is.
Yeah. I don't need to see Robin Williams in anything new.
I agree with that. That was interesting.
And I don't.
He also didn't consent to that, right? And so you have
to. This is my other issue, and I don't want to get, we'll be here. We will be here for 5 hours.
And that's fine. We can have this conversation. I think it's good.
Well, because it's not against like you or anything personally, but you've built this beautiful space and now we don't need it. And I think we do. I think we do need it.
Yep.
Okay.
I think we can have both. I think we can.
I hope we can. I do believe AI is a little bit of a bubble when it comes to creative stuff. I think the second someone generates if I was to generate a video of you killing somebody.
Oh yeah.
And then
What's
I bring
real?
it into court
What's real?
and I go, I have video proof.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me I'm wrong. And I am a computer genius. I'm not, but I'm a computer genius, and I can change the metadata to say that it came from this security camera,
which will be that will happen eventually.
Right? Who's to say that that's not admissible? Now is all video not admissible in court?
Because it goes the other way, right? Now you did kill somebody,
everybody.
and you're like, no, that's AI generated.
You posted a video, a little quick clip on your Instagram, which everybody should follow. I'll put it down here. But you posted a clip talking about how there is a lot of, we're going back the other way. There was people that, said everything, they were questioning whether or not it was AI, and now stuff that isn't AI, they're saying it's AI.
Yeah. And it was just me talking in my room, right?
Yeah.
And like, there's people on TikTok being like, oh, you can see his hair. It changes. Like, okay, whatever,
Right.
But yeah, we are going to get into some
weird
weird areas here.
Right.
Absolutely.
My advice to filmmakers is always I used to say the most crucial person to hire would be a producer because they budget everything.
Yeah.
Now it's a behind the scenes photographer.
Yeah, actually, that's a great idea. Yeah.
But if you're into photography or documentary filmmaking, apply to be BTS for every film that you see. You'll always get hired, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, everybody will say it's just computer generated. The reason I was upset with the talk was when the lady from SAG, Jessica, when she said it's not a big deal right now, but the first people to be affected will be the background people.
Yep.
What the hell are they supposed to do? Why is that okay? We're supposed to be finding tools to make productions easier, more accessible, but we're not supposed to like hurt people's livelihoods along the way. Like there are people whose their entire career is spent being background actors in film.
Yep.
Why do we need to take those jobs away?
Yeah, I don't know if it's taking their jobs away. I just think it comes down to
right, because they would be scanned in and then compensated.
Right, but that's the same idea though. Like, okay, for instance, like there's a production that we had where we were here and there was a digital set, and in that we still had background actors, but once you got into the digital world, you needed a couple people that were in that world. Well, unfortunately, I can't get our physical actors into the digital world. So we had a couple metahumans in the background, right?
This is my point. You can already do it.
You can already do it.
Why do we need AI?
Correct. AI just makes everything easier.
And by the way, when we're talking about Hollywood, see, I'm a big advocate for indie film.
Yes,
I think that we're going to see a big resurgence.
Yep.
We're on the precipice of an indie renaissance, which I think is fantastic. I think it's going to be amazing. The next 10 years are going to be amazing.
I think it's going to be great. Like everybody's thinking like, oh, the world's falling apart.
Focus on your own stuff.
Yeah, but whatever you focus on, you're going to run into. That's why you have pilots. When you're a pilot, or let's just do skiing because we're from the East Coast. When you're skiing through the woods or you're snowboarding, if you look at the tree in front of you, you're going to hit it. If you look at the gap, you're going to hit the gap. And so, to be honest, I'm sick and tired of people looking at the tree and going, "Oh, I'm gonna hit it." It's like
they're looking at the whole forest.
Yeah, exactly. But if you look at the whole forest too, you're also not going anywhere. And so this is very difficult. Like this is a very interesting time to be alive because any opinion that you have can easily be skewed or shifted to, oh, he thinks that or he believes that. I'm going to say I have no clue where the world is going right now.
Well, none of us do.
None of us do. But I think the goal is how do we walk that line with each other to be like, hey, let's use the tools, see where they're at, and then go, why? Honestly, everybody has a gut feeling when they see something that's AI and they're just like, I don't like that. And I want to know why. Maybe it's the uncanny valley, but for instance,
I think it removes the
there's no human soul in it. There's no human soul. There's no, if the eyes are the window to the soul, right? It's very amazing how he can make beautiful images of people that existed in the past and the future, but you look at them and although their facial features are there, there's no soul in that body. And isn't that weird from a human to human perspective? Is like, this is where I think it's going to go. I don't care how good Hollywood gets at, making these AI generated people. The thing that we still have control over is our attention. And we might think we don't. And a lot of people might not have control over their attention. But imagine if everybody collectively said, hey, like instead of me scrolling and spending time absorbing Sora footage, let me go and watch somebody's film. Like, let me go spend my time, energy, and resources on something that's real.
Well, this is what I find so hypocritical and funny, not of you, but of the people that are like addicted to scrolling.
Yeah.
So
dude, it's easy to be addicted to scrolling.
Well, sure. But then they also complain about it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So then put it down.
But like anytime, once you're addicted, and that's where I think we've accidentally. So, and I'm not gonna.
I don't know what you mean. I'm not addicted.
Right. Accidentally, we've been social engineered to continue to want more and more and more and more, and then it's never enough, right? And so again, this is a deeper conversation about what it means to be human, and sometimes you just have to do what's called just a dopamine reset, like. Every morning, like this happened to me too. Like
But I think that's what we're going through.
We are. People are realizing, oh my gosh, it'll never be enough. That endless scroll is always going to happen. And it's going to make us ask what actually matters in this reality. And we've seen it when people value, and this is the crazy part, is when people value views over being a human, they do wild shit. They will for lack of better terms, they will sell themselves online. Or I'm not even just talking about from a body perspective. Okay. But it could be that, right? Because why?
This is uncensored. Say whatever you want.
They want, as humans, we want to be valued. We want attention. We want to feel appreciated. And people will go to the extremes to feel some sort of appreciation or some sort of I'm alive, see that I'm here, right?
But I think that has more value.
That does have more value.
AI.
Sure. But people will, that's what I'm saying. People will use AI to then seek out that attention is because, but I love going back to this quote because it's from, Incredibles. Syndrome goes, when everybody's super, no one will be.
Correct.
And so when everybody can create an amazing
This is where I disagree.
Okay.
This is why I feel like we're on the precipice of this indie renaissance.
Yeah.
Did you watch a lot of movies growing up?
Oh, yeah. Depending on what kinds, which one are you
Well, this is what I'm asking. Like, are you more like an Avatar guy? I was more like a My Cousin Vinny, Rambo, 80s, stuff like that. Like, it's all real. Like, when Rambo falls into a tree, or, Sylvester Stallone.
I have stopped watching many, like, I didn't I almost watched Tron, but then hearing what my brother and them said, they're like, yeah, it was good. It was all right. But they said it lacked depth. Right? Yeah. When you used to go watch movies or online TV shows or, Mr. Rogers, it was always something happened. They made a mistake and then they learned from it. Now it's just a bunch of flashy imagery and like feel good stuff, but doesn't necessarily teach you a lesson. Right. And so we got to go.
There's no lesson. There's no story.
There's no story. Right.
But we're going to go back to that. I think because this is what I'm saying. So a lot of indie filmmakers, myself included, are not working on, $50-60 million sets. We're sub $500,000, I would say, right? Yeah. That doesn't mean the story's bad.
No. Right? You can honestly be more effective because you're limited.
And what it means is that you have to have a better quality story.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to tell a story. It's not about the flashy images anymore.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go back to people valuing, oh, this is real. It's not AI. It's not, completely CG like Avatar or something like that. And I only use that reference because they put the headsets on with the camera out front, tracking markers, that kind of thing, which again is a tool and it has its place. I get it. But the whole movie is like that.
Yeah.
So we're going to go back to more, and this is why podcasting is so big. Totally. It's a real conversation, unedited, it's just, it is what it is. Two people having a conversation about the future. That people see value in that. The reason podcasting is so big right now, I would say, is because nobody goes to bars anymore. Nobody goes out and talks with their friends. Yeah. So they sit and listen to people talk because it's a real conversation.
Yeah.
And so I think that there's going to be this surge of lower budget, high quality stories that kind of come out of this next 10 years, if for no other reason than the fact that they're more relatable.
Yes. But why? And that I want to get back to this, like why... In the early days, like look at The Godfather, right, or The Sopranos. Why did those matter?
Early days, that was 1996.
Right.
Go ahead.
But like, I'm going back to like,
Godfather-wise,
because everybody's like, oh, that was pure, that was cinema, right? That was pure, right? And it is. Why? Because the thing that mattered about movies was you were able to step inside somebody else's shoes and look from their perspective. That's what mattered. And when you have AI that doesn't have a perspective, then it doesn't feel real. And so what I'm realizing is the reason why films and movies and TV shows needed massive crews and budgets was because the goal for that movie and that TV show was to recreate reality so that somebody else could live in it. Okay. We live in a moment in time where we have technology and equipment for you to document reality as it is in the here and now. And so what I'm saying is we are going to start seeing a hybrid of documentary / filmmaking approaches where we tell meaningful stories, where we tell stories that need to be told, that aren't being told, because technology, like the phone in my pocket, can tell a story. It doesn't matter what camera you have. It's just what camera is on you. And so I see a world like what you're saying, where we're going to get everybody telling their stories and telling it from their perspective so that we can understand each other more. You know, those days of, you know, trying to tell a story and getting $100 million for a movie might be gone. But what would be amazing? I don't understand
why we need $100 million.
But that's what I'm saying. We don't need it anymore.
Right.
We did need it because it was very difficult to recreate reality in the past. That's why the film camera came out, because, oh man, we were able to capture, or let's start with photos. We were able to capture a single photo. Then we're able to capture multiple photos in a row. Now we're able to sync up photos and audio at the same time. Oh, we need to light it, right? And so it was this natural progression of capturing reality. And now that we're at a point where reality can be captured at the level of that we have, it's amazing. And this is where AI is going to throw a wrench in it, because if you look at what Weta and all these visual effects companies were doing, they were not just making cool visual effects. They are studying what it means to build, you know, like, for instance, Avatar, the water one, they had to figure out fluid simulations.
The water one.
Yep. Right? They had to figure out fluid simulations to make that happen.
Absolutely.
While they were figuring out fluid simulations, they were also understanding the physics of bubbles, right?
Yeah.
And so what I'm scared of is, it's not, can you make a beautiful looking image anymore? It's like, do you understand, right? Matthew McConaughey has like something in his book where it's not right or wrong, yes or no, good or bad, like you pass, you failed. It's, do you understand? And I don't want to lose our understanding of reality just because we can make something look close to reality. And so if we've realized, wow, we've made all these amazing tools to simulate reality around us and study the world around us, let's not just throw it out and just, let's just prompt it and, oh yeah, it looks beautiful, right? And so that's the cool part, is I see a world where the filmmaking tools that we have now can help us understand the world around us in so much of a better way. And so that's where it doesn't just end in film and entertainment. And that's why, you know, doing the portal cam stuff that I'm doing now with scanning the world around me is that wonder of like, man, we live in an unbelievable moment in time to have all this technology available to us. And technology, at the end of the day, it's either going to enslave us or it's going to liberate us. And it's one or the other. Like, we can either go down this path of, you know, you're going to have 5 or 6 companies own all the IP, own all the stories, and say, you can't create anything. We own it all. By the way, we trained our models off of everybody's work in the past.
This is another question I have for you. When you talk about things like the ethics of AI and stuff like that, why is it that if I wanted to play, you know, if I said, hey, what kind of music do you listen to? What's your favorite song? Right? What are you listening to these days? Blah, blah, blah. And then I wanted to play it right now, I'm going to get a copyright strike on YouTube.
Isn't that what? So,
but then if I upload an image of myself in Photoshop and I want to clean up my beard a little bit, whatever, Adobe,
they own you now.
They own my image. They own my likeness. Without my consent, without me opting in or out.
Well, you have to opt in to use their tool.
Who reads that?
No one reads that. And say,
why is that legal?
You're
legal. A lawyer now. Answer me. Why
I don't have the answer, but
nobody does. That's a problem.
This is the issue. That's
a problem to me. It's who agreed to train these models?
Well, the issue is you get enough people, and this is where what are we treating as the ultimate, you know, thing that we're going after? If it is just to make money for money's sake, we're gonna do some dumb shit.
Yeah, that's kind of usually the way it goes.
And that's the way it goes. And so we are...
Which is why I preach, don't spend the money. It's not about the gear. It's about the way you use it. It's about the resources you have and the favors you can call in and everything else to tell the story that you want to tell. Hollywood, it's the dumbest thing in the world to me. I've said this very recently, like a bunch of times, but they are the only industry, or the only industry that sells their product based on how much they spent to create the product.
Yeah, it's so backwards. It's so. It's
do you know how much it costs any of these amp companies to make the amp?
No.
Right, but when you are being marketed a film, it's a $200 million film, or it's a $500 million film, and you go, the normal person should be saying things like, "So what?"
Yeah. But we don't.
But instead they go, wow, you spent all that money. The problem you see is that when someone spends $25,000 on a film, on a feature, with actors and they're telling a really good story, if they were to market their film and say, I spent $25,000 on this, they're going to go, why would I watch this? Somebody else spent $200 million.
Wow.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. So you look at what Amazon did with the Lord of the Rings series. The only thing I heard for a while was
Rings of Power. You mean?
Yeah.
That thing sucks.
We spent $100 million on this.
It makes it's like
I don't
so
care.
Who cares? Like,
well,
who gives a shit?
like the original Lord of the Rings, yeah, they spent a lot of money, but they weren't touting that around. The thing that mattered was there's an amazing story told by this guy named Tolkien, and he made an amazing world to live in. And the reason
a lot of the
why,
Lord of the Rings stuff was practical too in the beginning.
It was. Yeah,
you know?
it was. And then guess what? When they did that Hobbit film, everybody's like, oh, we really don't like this, right? And so they were on that weird area. But again, you've got, and there's no right or wrong here. It's just like we've stumbled.
That's where you lose me. I
Why?
think there is a right or wrong. I think there is a right or wrong, especially when it comes to AI.
I understand that.
I don't mind with virtual production. Okay,
I guess you need to understand when I say there is no right or wrong is I'm trying not to judge the way people are acting in the world because we don't know any better.
I think people should start judging a little bit more. I think we need to start
trying
judging. When we don't judge, we allow Adobe to take over everything.
I understand
That's what I'm saying.
But what I'm trying to get to is I don't blame Adobe because I would love to blame Adobe. I'd be like, guys, you're really screwing over a lot of people.
It's not about Adobe. It's not about Adobe. Adobe's
about
a business,
everybody, right?
Adobe's a business. They're trying to make money. They're doing their thing and whatever. And if it's us is what I'm saying. It is everybody else who chooses because it's difficult to not read all the terms and conditions. Yeah, that's the issue.
Dude,
you see what I'm saying?
Even if we read the terms and conditions, we would still have to say yes because I still want to use the tool. Now, if all of us boycotted the tool, sure, that's great. Yeah. But the reason I need to go
Cracker Barrel and all these other places that recently get, you know, like
that's hilarious.
But my point is,
look at what we can do.
We get upset about the most mundane minutia bullshit.
Yes.
And all of a sudden it changes companies. They're like, okay, sorry, we'll put the logo back, whatever.
Yeah, but
right?
that's stupid. Yeah, but
we don't get upset about Sora.
Correct. And
Sora should have had, you want to talk about all these people that were protesting recently? I'm not making it political.
Yeah.
But I'm saying people protest about different things. And we have the right in this country to be able to protest about whatever we want, especially the government.
Sure.
There should have been riots in the streets when Sora 2 came out, in my opinion, as an artist.
Gotcha.
There should have been riots. When Jake Paul is doing makeup tutorials, there should have been riots. Did Jake?
Man, I love
and I'm not advocating, you know, Jake, whatever. Some people like him, some people don't, whatever. He's controversial.
Yeah.
Did he sign off on that? Did he allow someone to make those videos of him?
He did, yes.
Right? Yeah. I know, but like how many people do?
But he did it because he's an investor in Sora.
Right.
And so he wanted the views, he wanted to click. And this is, I need to go back to the explaining the why I don't blame people thing. I need to explain this because the blaming people thing is not like, yeah, I am upset in a lot of things and I want to control in some ways how the world or something looks at it. But what I'm saying is those people don't understand or might not see the impacts of what it is they're doing. And so you have all these developers, these people in code, you have all these higher ups who are being pressured by people above them, by this institution or whatever system that has been made. And if they don't do their jobs, well, then guess what? They get fired. So instead of speaking up and sticking their neck out and doing the right thing, they go along with the task. And that's what we've all been doing. And that's where I'm saying is like, it
really
sucks.
I mean, that's like making the case for the Nazis.
No,
I mean,
that's
but not you. I'm saying like that.
But
mindset.
That's a good. No, let's go there because we all think that we would say no in whatever that is.
Trying to say no
right?
to say no right now.
Yes,
like stop using AI.
I would like to too, right? But this is where it gets is like we don't have the perspective of the people that lived in those areas. And there were absolutely some people.
I'm not saying that we do or don't have that perspective. I'm saying when we look back, everybody says, oh yeah, I'd be the guy that says no.
And then look at what we did to COVID with each other.
Sure.
We treated each other like shit.
I know. It's insane.
So it's like we all fell into that trap.
I agree. But my concern is that we're falling into it again.
Yes. Yep.
And instead of, again, I'm not trying to, rip this woman apart that was on your panel.
And she's doing her best as well.
I get it. Yep. But
you have a feeling. I'd love to hear it.
But instead of like, SAG strikes over everything.
Yeah.
They strike over everything.
Yeah.
When it comes to this stuff, it'll probably just affect the background people first.
Yep.
So Leonardo DiCaprio will still make $50 million a film.
Gotcha. So you're upset that her perspective was the people in the background. It's not something that is worth fighting over yet. So we're going to wait until it affects somebody as a main character.
No, her perspective. Well, yes,
I'm asking,
exactly.
Is that what you?
That's how it came off.
Yeah.
There are thousands and thousands and thousands of people who do background work who are now just out of a job. Now, when it comes to filling a stadium, there are already companies who do like blow up dolls for stadium stuff.
Yeah.
I get that.
Because you have to ask yourself, like, hey, are you going to really like bring those people in and have them sit all day, feed them, do all that stuff? Yeah, that would be great.
Well,
if they do, right?
They do.
But for stadiums, like you're talking about, unless again, go back to, what they did for Batman and some of those other things. They just went into a stadium that was already full. And guess what? None of those people got paid. Is that right?
I feel like there's like I think that there's a lot of talk around compensation, and I feel like it has to do with the way that the economy is very expensive right now.
Yeah.
I'd be homeless with a camera in my hand, and I feel good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm living life.
You and I both would be cool with that, but there's a lot of people who wouldn't be.
No, but I'm saying people get way too obsessed with financial gain and then masquerade themselves as artists.
Yes.
Like, I'm not saying people should be like this. Like, mental health is very important to me and everything else, but
that's all we have.
Van Gogh cut his ear off and sent it to his girlfriend in a box.
Yeah.
The guy used to eat his paint and burn them to stay warm in the winter. And now we herald him as like this famous, amazing guy.
Mm-hmm. After he's dead, by the way.
This is my point.
Yeah.
So if you're really a true artist, whether it's a virtual artist and you're building worlds in Unreal, whether you're doing The Godfather and everything's practical, whether you're painting or whatever else, you remove all of that stuff because it's simpler or easier to have a computer do it. You're not an artist to me.
Interesting.
You're not art.
At what level?
Art requires suffering.
Art requires suffering, but also perspective.
Sure. But
so that's where I'm saying.
The suffering gives you perspective.
Yes. And so that's where I'm at is if somebody's going to use a tool, and this is where it always comes down to what is their intention. And if their intention is to just create an AI image and AI slop, not like everybody's trying to, I'm going to go create AI slop today. Well, actually, some people do. But, it's all about what is the perspective you're trying to share. And this comes down to what is art?
I'll tell you exactly what art is.
I would love to know what your
I'll tell you exactly what art is. Okay, I'm here for free,
Yep.
right? I'm doing a show to promote StudioLab. I'm saying point blank, I'm doing a show to promote StudioLab because I want other filmmakers to know that this place exists. We're in Derry, New Hampshire. And you should come here and check it out and meet Ian because it's sick. But I'm doing a show here. You're not paying me to be here. You're not being paid to be on my show.
Yep. We're spending time. We're wasting our time together having this conversation.
Sure. Yeah. That's true.
And I wouldn't say wasting. This is fantastic. I think these conversations need to happen.
Oh, absolutely. We have 3 cameras. We brought in 2. You guys Joel helped us out.
Joel's great.
I figured we'd walk in, we'd plug some cameras in and turn it on and have a conversation.
Sure.
Because we care.
Yes.
It took us an hour to set everything up.
Yeah. And I'm glad we did.
I'm not complaining.
Yep.
That's art. That's what I'm saying is the difference.
Yes.
Giving a shit and being you have a podcast studio. It's currently booked.
Yeah.
Okay. I said to you last night, have no fear. There's always a solution.
Find another way.
We'll figure it the fuck out.
Yep.
If we can't figure it out because we rely on things like AI, now we're just a bunch of monkeys. Again,
correct. Well, we're just creating and not thinking.
We're not
about
creating.
Yeah.
They're creating. We're using. The computer is creating.
And the computer can only create based off of works that have done in the past.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it was Warner Brothers, not to cut you off real quick, little tidbit.
That's good.
I think it was Warner Brothers. They tried to make an AI movie very recently. And what they did was they put it was either Warner Brothers or Paramount. They didn't use it. I'm just saying they tried to generate an AI movie. They did that by inputting their entire catalog of films.
Yeah.
But it was just their catalog of films.
Yeah.
So the thing that came out was like
just a hodgepodge of their
own stuff that's already been made. Like you can't think anything new.
Correct.
Because it has to go with what it knows.
It has to go with what, and this is, if we go back to the deeper nature of it, right, with AI, because it's going to be used to categorize a bunch of things, right? There is no room, I believe, for that inspiration or that, and again, this is where it's very difficult to categorize AI as AI because there's a lot of great, there's a lot of bad. And so, I use AI in some of our stuff, and it's you have to be very careful about. I do not feel great about going in, inputting a single prompt in, and it spits it out, and I go, that's my art. no, that doesn't feel like that's me, right? And so, like, for instance, like my YouTube, I'm just started YouTube and I'm making thumbnails, right?
I'm subscribed. You should too.
Okay. And
after you subscribe to this channel.
Here.
Yeah.
But like the thumbnails used to take me hours, if not days, right, to build. And so I just need a little bit of motion blur, right? And so, all right, hey, can I upload? I'm going to go into Photoshop. I add my title. I pop it into Nano Banana and I go, hey, can you just add a little bit of film streak?
Dan's a big Nano Banana guy too.
Right?
Loves Gemini
It's
Nano
cool,
Banana.
right? And so it's just like, we have to think about what.
But then don't you feel bad that you didn't hire an artist to make your thumbnails?
Do I? Like, I would love to find an artist to come
this
and
is
make
my point. It's the same
thumbnails.
with me with the audio thing that I said earlier. Like, I get it.
Right? There's a line. And so it's just like, could you go out and be like, hey, I'm looking to get this thing out. There's some audio in the background. I need to hire you for 10 hours to remove it. Or there's a button there that says, all right, remove this. And so what I think AI ideally would allow us to do is spend time on the important task of crafting your perspective and trying to get your perspective across. But you're right. If that perspective is spit out of a machine.
You know what I hate? That tool for filmmakers that I really hate?
Yeah.
Is the gimbals that are out.
Yeah.
These Zhiyun cranes.
You hate those gimbals?
First of all,
I heard they're going out of style.
You feel like everything is floating.
Yep.
It doesn't feel real.
That's because it wasn't used as an intentional.
No, it's to smooth the camera shot, to get rid of the footsteps.
Sure.
Right? To make things feel smoother, like when they're on a dolly.
Yep. But that's what I mean. Like, why did the dolly matter? Well, because they didn't want...
Well, movement can matter, but at least it's grounded.
Yes. But when that came out, you now got the ability to capture the world around you very cleanly, very smoothly. And like, you've got all these people making all these edits that are like, smooth, right? Where you're going to get one of these directors that's like, listen, you're just moving the camera to move the camera. There's no intention. And again, this is why it always comes back to, is there intention in what you're creating? And honestly, I believe that our generation and the people around us, we're getting very, very good at understanding what matters. And
okay, this is what I was going to say. To go off that, because you just like...
You can create AI artwork.
It in me.
You can create AI artwork all you want. But guess what? When you put it out there, if it doesn't connect with people, don't get mad at the people watching it and going like, wow, this doesn't hit.
Well, I never blame the public, because they don't... The consumer is never their fault.
No,
it's never their fault.
But I say this
all the time. Like, if you make a movie,
make
a movie and you get all bad reviews and nobody watches it and it doesn't make any money.
Well, guess what? The movie sucked.
That's the answer.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
And that's where I want to go.
It doesn't mean that the consumer suck. Well, people say, like, when you see like stand-up comedians, I know it's a very difficult job. I'm not knocking stand-up comedians, but you see people that go, "Oh, the audience is tough crowd tonight." Tough. No, you suck. You're not funny.
Yeah,
you know, work on your material, dude. Make me laugh. If you make a film and no one likes it, or if you post a reel on Instagram, I do it all the time. You get 2 likes, 3 likes. Oh, that sucked.
Yeah. But you learn from it.
And you do better.
You learn from it.
And you do better. And I think it's also very important, on a side note entirely, like,
Yeah.
You can't say that you're supporting people if you're going to see your friends post and then not like it. And I've been really trying hard to scroll and like look for things and actually start engaging with people, because it's very important.
It is.
It has nothing to do with growing myself. It has to do with and not like my opinion matters, but it's like, hey, like, dude, that is cool. I like that. Yeah. And I'm not just liking that because we hang out every day.
Correct.
I'm liking it because you made something cool, and we don't hang out every day. You know?
And I get to see you, and like that's where I love.
Yes.
This is where there is inherently, we're going to go yin and yang here. There's inherently good and evil and good. And so you've got people, and with these social media channels, it's hijacking our attention. And a lot of it is just to, waste that moment in time, because honestly, we're just numbing ourselves out here. And so we can't sit down in a film and watch an 1.5 hour long film anymore.
Oh, that's not true.
Well, we can, but it takes a lot of willpower for some people to actually go there.
Think?
Well, when I say by that is like, for you to go and watch a film, you've got to get in your car, you got to go down the film.
Oh, you mean to go to a theater?
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, my issue with theaters is they're just too expensive.
Well, and that's what needs to change
problem.
too, is like, how do we bring...
It changes by canceling your subscriptions.
Well, if you cancel,
and we're going to. This is what I'm saying, man. But this is my point, and not. You're right, and I'm going off of that, but it's very inspiring, and I can't shut up.
No, this is good. This is exactly what a conversation is.
So I just got an email update. Now, I love HBO. I love Warner Brothers. I think they're amazing. They're like, they have The Sopranos, and they were like A24 before A24. Like they picked the good stuff.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Warner Brothers is great. Their content wise. Just got an email. Not bitching. It's the truth though. subscription has gone up twice since I subscribed to HBO Max 10 years ago.
And you're getting commercials too.
I don't get commercials.
Oh,
No, I pay the Max.
Yet.
They haven't done that to me yet. And
when they do
it, I'm out.
You're out.
When they do it, I'm out.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Everything's
but they
gonna be
just
an
went,
advertisement.
when I first got it, I think it was like $14.99. It was the most expensive subscription that I had.
Yeah.
I have since gotten rid of Hulu. I've gotten rid of Netflix. I've gotten rid of, I don't do YouTube Premium. I just wait for the ads so I can skip them. But I'm a kid that grew up with cable, so like I don't care. Commercials are commercials.
Sure.
When it's too many, I'm like, dude, come on.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But how much are we going to go up with the subscription prices before people start canceling?
Yep.
So
what's worth it? What is worth it?
But the corporate people at Warner Brothers or wherever else look at it and go, well, we don't have enough people, and we gotta maintain, or we gotta do layoffs, or we gotta do this, or we gotta do that, or we gotta make cheaper stuff by putting out AI content. People are gonna stop watching it.
Yeah, go ahead, make AI content. People aren't gonna watch it.
From the beginning of human communication, storytelling has always been a major factor in technological advancement, in health, in survival. You go out on the hunt, right? I'm thinking caveman times. You go out on the hunt and you come back to the fire with your tribe.
Yeah.
And they go, how did you bring back this 10,000-pound elephant for all of us to eat? And the guy who did it is right there ready to tell you everything. I crouched behind the thing.
But he first had to live it. He didn't make that up.
That's fair.
And that's where we're getting.
Fair.
It's like we're making up.
But then someone else, after hearing that story, said,
I'm going to tell it.
Imagine if this happened. Or they go to another tribe and they go, you should see what happened with this guy. Imagine you were right out there in the thing. Then people started painting and you're seeing stuff from their perspective. And then the camera came out and you could capture reality and you could start telling stories. And now to me, a film is the director telling you a story around a campfire.
Yeah.
And they're showing you the best way they can what happened in their story. That's it. That's all it is. AI is the computer is the director and everybody else. I'm not a big fan of it. But that's why if Dan wrote a script and gave you a copy and gave me a copy and give all the money in the world, forget the budget for a minute, and said, go make this movie and come back. And you made a movie from the same script as me.
It would be different.
Be completely different.
Yeah.
Because one would be from my perspective and one would be from yours.
Yep.
And the shots would look different. We'd use different cameras and different lenses and different everything else. And you might use the virtual wall. I might go use real locations. I might be more limited. You might be more limited if you stay, That's art. It's the human experience. Yep. It's part of the reason, like, if you are into anything, if you watch this podcast, you might also watch, other filmmaking podcasts or like Shitty Rigs podcasts or Crew Stories or anything like that, because you want the perspective of multiple people on the same subject.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For me, whether you watch the movies in the theater or at home, it still, even to this day, I mean, I would love to go back to the theater. It's got to be cheap. Telling a story around a campfire is free. I've said this on multiple podcasts as well. The reason that entertainment did so well during the Great Depression is because it cost a nickel. Yep. And a loaf of bread cost 50 cents. So for a nickel, you can forget about the fact that you couldn't eat that week. Yeah. Entertainment is supposed to be inexpensive, not cheaply made. Yep. Not like it isn't, not like janky and crappy storytelling. The story should be good. The way you tell the story should be good. But it's not the consumer's fault that you spent $150 million. And let me tell you, if they made movie tickets $1, $5 for a summer, there'd be lines out the door. People want to go and do things. People like to do things. Yeah. And it's six one way, half dozen the other. If you get half or a third of the amount of people to go for $35, yep, why wouldn't you make the tickets cheaper and have 3 times the people? You'd make the same money. Yeah. Do you see what I'm saying?
And that's where it's like, but is it about...
This is how I know they're not artists.
If it's not, let's just, like you said, let's remove the money for the budget, right? And it's not about
but I'm talking about that's why people don't go to the theater anymore. It's $40 there. You go home, you got $18.99 a month for HBO.
But what
it's like, how much do I spend?
If it was $5 for the movie right now to go see Tron or go see
I'd go 3 times a week.
Interesting.
And I'd sit there for 2.5 hours watching every movie that came out.
Interesting, yeah.
And I don't...
But we're film nerds. Do you think your average person would?
Was everybody who went to Star Wars when it first came out a film nerd?
Correct, but that was back then when, right, I'm talking about right now. Like
my friend RJ, who is a director who I work with on everything,
Yeah.
and he's a writer too, he's very good. When he sees a film that he really likes, I make fun of him now because it's so ridiculously expensive.
Yes.
He'll go with his girlfriend,
Uh-huh.
and then he'll call his friends, say, you got to see this film, and he'll
Yeah.
go with them.
Nice.
Whether it's to watch it again himself or to like watch them experience it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
To see if they have the same reaction,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
kind of deal.
He cares about showing. He wants to show.
And then
somebody
he'll go back
something.
again with his parents, and he'll take his parents to the movie theater and everything else.
Yep.
You can't do that when it's $50 a
No.
piece.
I understand what you're saying there. What I'm trying to get at is I think
That's a film nerd. But all the rest of the people he brought with him still went.
Yes, but when you go back to Star Wars, right? When people went to Star Wars, it was an event. They would dress up, they'd go, they would get so immersed in it, right? And that's why, George Lucas knew the merchandise was going to be huge because people wanted to be a part of something. And back then, it was impossible to go and travel to space and see this perspective. And so, look at the films. Like when the first film was shown and it was a train running at them,
Everybody left the theater
because they thought the train was going to rip
so
into them,
funny.
right?
I think that's hilarious.
And so
yeah.
we've gotten to a point where we're desensitized to just beautiful imagery. Like, yeah, that's cool. We see beautiful, crazy things all the time. And so now
I don't see. That's the thing. I don't think beauty is necessarily necessary.
I guess it's not beauty. I guess it's,
no. I think you're right. I think there's an
word?
obsession right now, Ian.
It's novelty. People want something novel. They want something new. They want some new perspective, right? And
Maybe.
so if we can, my thought here is,
I think they want something quality.
Quality, but there's quality stuff everywhere.
I don't think there is.
Quote unquote.
That's what I'm saying. That's my issue with the gimbal. Is
Yes.
like it's like everything is so accessible that the quality of the story matters more than the quality of production.
Great. Yeah, I guess we're talking about two different things here.
Right.
Quality as far as like image quality. It's very easy to make something.
Yeah, you make everything look.
You
Look how
make
good this
Look
looks.
how it looks. Yeah, right. And it's just,
dude, you got $30,000 in lights right here.
Right.
I mean,
and so but at the same time, right, you can take your phone and figure that out, right? And so it's like it's just if you and I were sitting here and we're just like, oh, those good looking guys, right? It's like no, people aren't gonna just sit here and watch
they're gonna
that.
say I am the good. Okay,
right, but they want to know. They want to know what we think, right? And that's why we're listening to this. And so it's less about making something look quality and more about the depth of the information behind it.
Right. That's the story.
The story. And so we'll keep going in circles, but it will always come down to who can tell the best story and not the loudest story. Not I'm going to tell the story first. And to be honest, there's really, I don't know what the exact number it is, but apparently there's only really 36 story arcs that we really can tell, whether that's like comedy or all these genres, right? And we keep retelling them over and over again, just with different characters, different actors, and with different technology. Because there is something in the human spirit that craves depth, that craves a hero, right? And so we're like, you look at the Gladiator and all that stuff. You got this guy who, obviously lost everything, was almost killed by the Romans and fought his way back and had the opportunity to obviously kill the emperor at that point in time, but didn't because it wasn't the right moment in time. He knew he needed to win the crowd to win his freedom. And watching that, being able to look at that movie, and it was 3 hours long, and be like, oh my God, I would watch that again, because that moment in time where he almost killed that guy, I was like, you need to do it. Why are you not? You have the opportunity right here. But the fact that he was able to pull that knife back and it's not yet time. Because if he did it at that moment in time, he would have went down as a murderer, as somebody who killed the king. But because he waited and he did the right thing, why does it feel like he did the right thing?
I think that's my biggest contention with the AI thing is I am a huge proponent of do the right thing, not the easy thing.
Yep.
And AI seems too easy.
Interesting.
It seems too convenient. Again, it goes back to I believe that like a real artist, no matter what field they're in, is an artist that suffers. Through pain comes, they say pain is beauty, or beauty is pain.
But like you said, it's like if an artist sees that, do they go and throw themselves and like purposely make themselves suffer to make better art? No, I don't think that's the case. I think it's just like throughout life.
No. I mean, like with restrictions, you're going to suffer.
Yes.
You're going to suffer.
I think
do you have when I graduated high school?
Yep.
I was right after graduation. You walk over to this table, they give you a folder.
Yeah.
Or for me, they did anyway.
Yeah.
And it had like report cards from kindergarten.
Everything you had. Yep.
Everything, your permanent record.
Sure.
Right. And it had like little drawings in there and all this stuff. And I was like, wow.
That's crazy.
And people were telling me I was really good. Yeah. And I'm looking at it going, oh my God.
That's shit.
Right. I was like, I've been lied to for 20 years, 18 years at that point, whatever it was. But if you don't have that,
you can't learn.
You don't get better.
Yes.
If I had never drawn a picture at all, and the first one I drew was when I was 18, and it wasn't in that folder, it would look like the second grade drawing that I did. If you just type something in and you get exactly what you're looking for, or you get exactly this thing and you didn't have to suffer at all, that's where the depth is lacking.
Yes.
Why do we care? Why do we relate to the Gladiator guy? Why is it that we don't throw our hands up and go, that movie was shit when he doesn't stab the guy?
Yeah.
Because you know it's the right thing.
Yeah.
How do you know it's the right thing? Because you've done something else in your life.
Because you're human.
Right, but you had to learn.
Yes, you
and
did.
if you took I don't know, you don't have kids, but I'm saying if you took your kid to the movie and they said, well, why didn't he kill the Emperor? The Emperor's a bad guy because it's not the right thing to do. Now you're teaching, there's a lesson there.
Yes,
you see
there's
what
a
I'm saying?
lesson. Yeah.
And the kid has to like use critical thinking, and the kid has to start expanding their brain. AI, there's no expansion. You don't have to learn anything. You don't have to do anything.
You're not understanding anymore.
And then
that's what I don't want to lose.
What happens when it all crashes?
Then we forget how to do anything. And that is a bigger concern, is like, look at all this media, right? We're recording to 3 cameras, right? This media matters because not only can it be captured this way, but it also can be distributed in some way. What happens when all that information and that electricity is gone? Well, guess what? We're back to the Stone Age, right?
Legitimately back to the Stone Age.
And so I've always had this this issue. I don't know what you believe about dreams, but when I was really young, I had this like, my mom used to tell me all the time, like, you'd always come into our room and have a nightmare about technology taking over the world. And it's like, I was 5. I was like 5. And I was like,
really had that?
Yeah, I was like, what do you, I remember I had this.
This is legit.
This is legit. No, like, the story is, technology drove me and my family underground, and I had built this machine to tunnel under the ground so technology couldn't get to us.
You ever seen Silo?
That's probably, that's probably something like that, right? But even before technology was there.
They live in a big missile silo.
Yes, yes. Yeah. But this one was just like, it's just me and my family, and the only way you get away from technology is to hide underground where it can't get you. And so like, for some reason, I've always had this issue with technology. And again, I'm surrounded by technology. But
this is what I'm saying, and this is why I'm surprised that you're not more, not in a bad way.
No,
but it's just a conversation. I love you, and I think I really do. No, I do. I'm not attacking
you. You might be upset that I'm not against as much of the AI.
I wish you were more staunchly against the AI thing, only because of the amount of work that you have put, like you have suffered.
Yes.
The whole first half of this podcast was you explaining your suffering.
Sure.
And suffering does not mean, by the way, that you're sitting in the corner crying.
I understand.
Suffering means you like learning when you learn to tie your shoes.
Yes.
Suffering is like the learning. Learning and suffering are the same thing to me.
Same thing. Yeah.
Okay?
That's how you learn fast, is to suffer.
Right. The moment, and I tell people this all the time because I deal with a lot of younger filmmakers and people that are like in college, just graduating out of school. They want to be Spielberg, and then reality hits them, and they're like, I'm going to be a PA for 20 years. You know what I mean? And I tell them that they don't have to be, but you also have to suffer. You have to learn. And that doesn't mean that like your first film has to be the best thing ever. It's not going to be. But you have to, anybody who just got out of college is going to be like slapped with reality. You're not just going to be granted this golden
They're told.
Yeah.
You go from middle school to high school to college.
It doesn't matter what field you're in.
You're going to get to the next thing. You get to reality, and it's like,
you're starting at ground level.
Oh, that's what this is. And the sooner you can start in learning about reality and the school of hard knocks, the easier it's going to become. But you're just going to get used to getting punched in the face.
Either that or you'll fail.
Or you'll fail. But when
else.
you're absolutely going to fail.
No. I mean, what I mean is you'll give up.
Yes. Giving up is failure, right? And so like you can fail in the short term or you can fail in the long term. And I'd rather fail slowly over time. And the reason why I'm very careful about, and again, like, yeah, you're right. Should I be more upset about AI and Sora and all these things?
But look at all the work you put in.
Yes, but I'm betting on the fact that humans are going to know what's valuable and know what's not. And right now it feels like everybody's just falling in, oh, look at that. Like, that was a funny video. Like, what?
So this is my point, but this is why I don't blame the consumer and I do blame Hollywood, or I blame us as an example.
We're doing it. Yeah.
This is my point. They only can consume what we give them. So if Sora 2 came out and all of us were like, I'm not using that. I'm not doing anything with that. Sora 2 would go out of business, whatever it is.
But that's not the case. Everybody's using it.
Everybody uses it.
Everybody gets to see themselves.
But they don't see that it's the same as dragging that blade across their own wrist.
Correct.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, what are you doing?
Correct, but that's not going to change. And so like
I don't know.
Well, not that. I think it absolutely can change, but I think we have to realize where we have to pick our battles carefully. If you fight for everything, you fight for nothing, right? right? And so the issue is there's a lot of things I could be really upset about in life right now and just go out and want
but
to
we're talking
scream
about AI.
Yeah, we're talking about AI. But within
Not politics.
AI,
My God, we'll be here for 10 hours.
AI is political. Like it's all,
It can be,
everything
yeah, sure.
is, right? And so
Well, yeah.
I would rather spend my time looking at the things that I actually can control, which is where I spend my time, energy, and resources.
Yes.
Be curious, because it's stupid to look at a tool and go, I'm not even going to look at that, because then I don't know what it can or cannot do. I would rather be somebody who understands the tools, realizes their capabilities, and then decides whether or not to use that tool. Now, yes, do I feel it is incredibly wrong for all of us who want to go use a song in our YouTube video to then to get a copyright strike? But by the way, that copyright strike, guess who's making all that money? YouTube. Well, how come they can make the money? Well, because they own the platform. Well, I'm not going to go and try and take on YouTube right now. That seems
right,
a lot
and
of
it's
waste
like
of
people
time.
are like, well, then build your own platform.
And
Like,
that's
no,
like-
you got to play by the rules. I get that. My
Yep.
point is that AI currently is not playing by the rules.
Yes.
The
And so-
established rules that everybody else has to play by.
Correct. Why? Because they have found a way through a lot of money
And marketing.
and marketing to sell this idea. And so, okay, that's the reality that we live in right now. And so I would rather go, all right, I know that exists, but I could spend all of my time, energy, and resources complaining about it and going, hey guys, like, don't do this, don't do this. Where instead of saying, let me tear this down to build something new, I'm going to say, just, you guys can go do that. But while you're going to do that, I'm going to support people that actually are creating amazing things.
And this is my entire message. Go watch indie films. That's my point.
Yeah.
That's why I've always said, like, I'm not an advocate against, everybody thinks that I hate Hollywood. I'm not against Hollywood. I'm saying, look at what they're doing.
Sure.
They're
And-
not filmmakers. They're corporate people.
Yes, because this is
They're
what happens
all about
in
money and a
any
bottom line.
industry. You get in any industry, you have people who know how to control and manipulate people, and the people that should actually be there, they get sick and tired of it, and they go, well, I feel like I'm fighting an uphill battle. I'm just going to remove myself.
And what I'm saying is, don't quit. Continue creating.
And I would agree. And so that is the only thing that we can do here is we can spend where, instead, like I said before, instead of looking at the trees and trying to just, oh, we should just cut that down, that tree. It's just like, let's find a way, just like a lens does. Is a lens doesn't control a particle or reality itself. It doesn't change anything.
Right.
It just bends the light. And so all I want to do is just bend the light, is bend what reality is and work with it, right?
Yeah.
Like the whole like be like water. You have to kind of like be fluid with it, because if you try and be rigid, well then you're not going to be able to go anywhere, because you're just stuck in somebody else's reality, blaming them for the position you're in. And so
That's
if
what
you
I'm
take
saying.
full responsibility and you go, all right, I'm going to create anyway. I don't care whether or
Yes.
not, and even to the point where I don't even care if anybody watches what I create anymore. I am creating because I enjoy the process.
Yes.
And that's what it always comes down to, is we all can make an amazing film and make amazing content.
Well.
But if it sucked, but if it sucked to do that, and somebody on set or
It
somebody
does
was
suck to
treating,
do that.
it does suck to do that in some ways. What I'm saying is, like, I enjoy the process so much that
You're willing to deal with the suffering.
yes, and
that's what I'm saying.
That's what it's about. And in that suffering, you don't just suffer alone. You suffer with other people.
Yes, preach
But
it.
if you
yes,
want,
dude,
listen,
it's so
if you
true.
want to suffer alone, that's fine. And honestly, it's going to feel like that a lot of times. You're going to go home alone and sit, because, dude, I'm sorry, this is a single player game. Like,
AI is.
no, I'm talking about just reality. Like,
Oh,
you
yeah.
are in your own mind.
Well, I
am
love it
in
when
my
people
own
are like,
mind.
"Oh, they deal with this like main character syndrome shit." I'm like, no, but like we all should. Like this is our life.
Yes.
Like, you have to live your own whatever. Listen,
Don't be cynical and like.
I love
cheat
you like
people.
a family member.
Yeah.
Like you're great, and I appreciate you having us here and everything. And this conversation's awesome. When I leave, you're still here, and you
Yes.
have your own life, and I have
You
to
have your
go
own
and I
life.
have to edit this, and I have to do my own thing, and I don't
Yeah.
expect you to be thinking about me editing this.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Sure. But
Like,
at the same
because you
time,
you have your own life, is what
Yeah.
I'm saying. So like we all actually are our own main character in our own film that we're watching.
yes,
You know?
we are both the director, the actor, the producer.
Yeah.
And we're watching it.
We decide what we do.
Yep. And with that, we can change reality. Like I truly
this
believe
is the whole goal.
Steve Jobs is talking. He talked about like how, whether you like the guy or not,
Yeah,
he
sure.
did change reality. He shifted the moment in time that we're in, and so.
Well, he connected us in a way that we had never been
And
connected
he
before.
didn't himself even know what he created. And that's
Right.
the wildest part, is like, once you realize that, he says, reality is made up of nobody smarter than you or I. Like, we're all on the same level playing field. And the moment when you realize you can start punching reality and something new comes comes out of it,
Yeah.
then you start to have control over your world again. And so there's two ways you can live your life. You can look at life and say, oh, woe is me, this life sucks, and I wish things were different. Or you can go, all right, let me take control again. Let me take control and get into this life and live it as if, I actually had a say. Not to the point where you're going to do something crazy and you're going to manipulate or hurt other people, but you're going to just realize what the rules are. Going back to the content game. If your piece of content sucked and nobody saw it, it might not be people. It might be the fact that you didn't put a good enough story together. And so at this point, like,
or you didn't research enough and put it at the right time.
You don't know your audience.
Right.
Right. Or, like, you didn't try enough, right? Like it's foolish of us to think, oh, I'm going to get into the content game and put out one piece of content that's going to blow up. Well, guess what? Even if that does happen, that's awful, because now you're going to have you're going to have a weird perspective on reality.
False sense of
and
success.
That's where I'm getting is like, if you have,
it's my issue with AI.
Yeah. Well, if you have issues, if you have corporations, and again, this goes into the music industry, this goes in the film industry, they are boosting numbers synthetically, and they're not giving us a level playing field. And so if that's the case, then we have to be able to find a way to create anyway. And out of that, with a long enough time horizon, you might be able to get what's in your mind out into the world and help. And you're going to find your people. That's what life's about. Is like,
that's the beauty to me of
you just got to find your people.
That's the nice part about technology, I would say. Is being able to, like, I don't need Hollywood. If I put a movie on YouTube and if I have 3 million subscribers, like,
you can get that out.
Right.
It's amazing.
Right.
And
I don't currently. You should subscribe. But I'm saying, you see what I'm saying? Like, I don't need to go beg Warner Brothers to put my film in theaters.
Where you used to. They used to be able to, they were the gatekeepers.
Yes.
If they didn't like your shit, whether it was amazing or not, but like, I don't know, the executive producer's like, I don't like his haircut.
Right.
They used to be able to stop that, right?
Exactly.
But now, again, as amazing it is, you have the ability to get your ideas out into the world, share it to the rest of the world, and find the people that resonate with that idea.
Yeah, 100%.
And the more we all continue and we all start to share our perspective in a raw format, the better it is. Because, reality TV, how it was produced, was nowhere near reality, right?
Do you know why reality TV, like the catalyst for that?
No, I'm curious.
The O.J. Simpson trial.
Jeez.
Isn't that insane?
Are you serious?
Yeah, they had like NBA playoffs and everything, and they used to be able to put it in like a picture-in-picture.
Yeah.
And they had the O.J. Simpson trial there, in the small one, and they swapped it so that the NBA playoffs were in the small.
Are you serious?
Yeah. And then after that, like the Osbournes came out and all this other stuff, Anna Nicole Smith and all these other early reality TV shows, but people were more obsessed with the trial of a real story of that than they were about sports, which is huge, especially in this country.
That's crazy. Yeah.
But yeah, that was the first thing really that was like, oh, people want to see stuff. And then obviously, reality TV is totally produced.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like,
reality,
because it was so produced, there was something about that they wanted, right? You like look at Jersey Shore and all these other ones, right? That was scripted reality TV.
Oh yeah.
But it felt like reality. And so what I'm saying now is, because we have the ability to share our perspective, is we are going to get into a moment in time where people are going to be able to share what's really going on in the world. And I'm excited for a world that everybody's able to communicate and the playing field is leveled. Because you look at people on Instagram and TikTok right now, they have millions of subscribers, millions of views. Well, the algorithm has gotten so good at, no matter if you have 1 million views or 1 million subscribers or 10 million subscribers, if you put out a bad piece of content, nobody's going to see it. But if you are somebody that just created your Instagram account, it's never been easier for you to put your head down and go, what do I want to share with the world?
Yeah, what's my specific take on something? Yeah.
And you could love amplifiers, or you could love lighting, or even you could love flowers, or you could love cooking. And it's like, if you enjoy doing that, you can go and find your people. And, even 5 years ago, it would be very difficult for you to build a subscriber base from 0 to 100 or 1,000.
Unless you were playing by whatever rules.
Yeah, or you knew somebody who was going to pull some strings. But I would rather, slowly and over time build an understanding. Because
people who give a shit about what you have to say. Yeah. Your people, specifically your people.
Yep.
I view everything. This is my last thing on AI. I think that regardless of anybody's religious beliefs, when humans, God is just the word that I'll use as an all-encompassing higher power.
Yep.
when humans try to, whenever throughout history, when they try to blur the line and when they try to take over as God, that's when shit goes sideways.
Oh, yeah.
So
because we try and control everything.
Atomic bomb, everything was like, what was a little too powerful. Look at AI, same type of deal. We're trying to control and bend reality. With the lens, like you were talking about before, all it does is bend light.
That's it.
It just captures what's in front of it. Whether that's a virtual wall, whether it's this, whatever. None of it's real in AI. We are creating our own reality with a prompt. That's the recipe for disaster. In my opinion.
And like you said, the atomic bomb. But out of the atomic bomb, we're taking the same understanding and we're creating, you know, nuclear reactors to power things, right?
Like I said, medical device technology with regard to AI. Like there is a purpose for it. I just personally don't think that creativity is the route to go when it comes to AI. Because I feel like creativity is inherently a human thing. So it's like, even if you're watching you know, a YouTube video and there's a little bit of a shake in it because someone doesn't have a stabilizer the right way, like it's better than if a computer did it, because then the people didn't do it. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I understand.
There's a great moment I love these little nuanced moments because they've defined why I want to be a filmmaker and why I am in the industry that I'm in. Every year at Christmas, I watch the Santa Claus with Tim Allen. And the opening credits for that movie are on a dolly that is that has like a jib on it of some sort, and they're going over carpeting in an office building, and it's like the whole sequence. It's a Disney film, multi-million-dollar film, and the whole thing is like this the whole way, and then it jiggles up and everything, and they're rolling forward because it's on a dolly cart. I never cared, and now I love it for that. Now
because
I watch the opening credits for that. You know, and it's like, this is the movie. I love a little camera jiggle. I love when there's a film that's shot on film and you see the little gate weave. It's like a static shot, but the image is kind of jiggling a little bit. Because it's real film going through the camera. And I'm not even a guy that's like, oh, you can't do digital. Like I shoot everything digital.
Totally.
Because now it's more expensive.
It's helpful,
But like these little nuanced things that let you know that just outside that frame there are 50 people trying to make it work. Like that's such a collaborative thing. Like even with you with the virtual stuff, like
there's still 40 people in that room.
That's what that's what I'm saying, man. That's what I'm saying. And for me to go stand in one of those airport things and then you to just send me later that day a whole whatever. It's like kind of heartbreaking.
I know when you say the airport thing, you're talking about scanning the person and then using, no, I understand what you're saying. And so,
you know, even if I signed off, even if you're paying me millions, it's not real. It
doesn't feel human-like.
It's not real.
This is where I think we need to, if again, as we're wrapping this up, like it comes down to, and why I'm trying not to get too emotional about where AI is, because I feel it too. I'm like, anytime I see somebody, no, it is emotional because it's like, you have all these film students, all these people getting out of college being like, wow, I just spent my entire life getting up to this point.
$55,000 a year. Just so you know.
$55,000 a year,
in the US. 55,000 film degrees a year.
That's insane, right? And there's no, and so for those people who get out and
is Sam Altman going to pay them back for their film degree?
No, they're not. Honestly, he's going to use their likeness. But that's a whole separate story.
This is my point.
No, listen, I get you. And I could be frustrated. And I am frustrated. But I'm not going to put my energy into being frustrated because I'm trying to go, okay, I'm going to use these things. I'm going to understand them. But for commercial productions, it feels gutless to use it because it's like, you know, like why am I going to spend all this money to go make this happen? Well, because the process is worth doing. And like you get clients who come in and they want to spend money because they want the experience of creating. And this is where it's going to be the end of us, is when you get a couple managers in some of these higher end roles that just see us as expendable, as see us as like, well, I'm not going to spend all that money on film. I'm just going to pop it in AI and we're good to go. Why? Because they can just sell a product. And so again, it just comes down to where is our intention at? And if it's to sell, and everything becomes advertisement, everything just becomes content, then we're just gonna spend our entire life scrolling our life away. But if it becomes, if film pivots again and becomes a way for us to connect with each other and find each other and see from each other's perspective again, then I believe it's going to come back and we're going to see stories told that have never been able to be told, that have never been possible before. And that's the exciting part. And I should have started with this, but I'm going to end with it. in my life, everything is an experiment now. It's all just an experiment. In my Instagram bio, it says real-time human experiment, because I am not somebody who's going to claim to know what direction or where the world is going to go. But all I'm asking for is to try something new. And that trying something new is to ask the question, why? And if we keep asking the question, why, we're going to get to the root cause of what it means to be a human being. And the moment we find that, we find something worth creating. We find the stories worth telling. And at some point, we've lost our way along this entire thing. And I believe if we're careful, we will find our way back. But it will require all of us. Yes, at the end of the day,
I agree.
It will require. It's not going to just happen through one person. If each individual takes responsibility for their own actions and the things that they're doing, we'll figure it out. I'm not waiting for the government or Hollywood or anybody to figure this out for me. Why? Because we've tried that path, and look at where it has led us. It's led us to more division and more hate towards each other. And I don't believe in a future that we end in self-destruction. I believe in a future that we find our way out of this, because we're all human. We all have the same consciousness. You're here, I'm here. And yeah, it either can go down and everybody thinks that we're all just going to hell in a handbasket, or we can be like, whoa, can we pivot? Can we turn here?
Yeah.
And I think we can, if we're careful enough.
I think, more times, more conversations like this need to happen. Your conversation up in New Hampshire needs to happen more often.
Even if it leaves you running out and be like, I'm frustrated.
Yeah,
because you should
and that's what it was. I mean, I was angry. I'm an emotional guy, whatever.
But you were frustrated.
But it's frustrating because, you think you see something and
but good, it mattered. If you weren't frustrated, that means you didn't give a shit.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's just like, if we all can be...
I'll tell you this, I would have been really pissed if you didn't have the talk.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
That's a good point. Yeah.
So like my frustration comes from the, my perspective not necessarily being represented up on that stage is what it is. Yeah. And feeling as though there was a lot of, well, it is what it is. We're all fucked. So that's frustrating.
That is frustrating.
And it's also, I don't believe it.
I don't either.
And for me, my goal is never to, I totally agree with you. My goal is never to sit and just complain about something. I'm making films. I'm talking to people and trying my damnedest to give other filmmakers who have any sort of hope to that that's what they want to do. Yeah. The other resources, introducing them to other resources that are in this community. I've had everybody from grips and gaffers on to sound people and virtual production people and everybody else. Like, these are the people. Yeah. Go watch the show, and if all you do is follow these people on Instagram and hit them up and say, hey, I need this. Yeah. Like, maybe it won't happen 100% of the time, but like, that's the way to do it. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to build a community of people that's like, and yeah, like some people use AI, and like you said, use AI for your thumbnails sometimes or whatever. Like, I sit there with my iPad and Procreate, and I cut little pieces of people out, and I do the thing and do all that stuff. And
because you enjoy the process.
This is artwork, man. Like, it's like, even this conversation, like, this is the human experience.
Yeah, we want more of it.
I try really hard. I have a couple lined up that I'm going to do in the future, but I try really hard not to do Zoom call podcasts. Yeah. Not that there's anything wrong with it if you do a Zoom call podcast, but I want to be here, man.
Something special about being in the same room with people.
I want to be here. I want to be like, in the room with other people, and I don't know. I think the future's bright. I think the future's bright for StudioLab too. This is sick. And why don't you plug before we hang up?
Yes.
You should plug the industry night thing.
Yes. I was going to say that. Is like, these conversations need to keep happening, and they're going to happen when you're here. And so we started something called Industry Night 2 years ago, when we realized, hey, there's not really a space for people to come and meet and hang out, right? There's something, obviously there's networking events, but this is for...
Yeah, but those are dumb.
Those are dumb, right?
Those are dumb,
and don't get me wrong, you can go to your networking events. I get you have to do that.
Yeah, sure, but also come to this.
This is built... This is the intention behind it. And you're like, well, that's a networking event. No, the intention behind this is creatives and people in the industry. You don't even need to be like, we have the guys who supply our wood come, and hang out with us. It's like, this is a space for people to come in the local community to just come and hang out. We cook food. People,
good food.
We smoke on the barbecue. People hang out, and like you talked about, story started around a campfire. And we have an area back there called Fire and Gin. It's an over the fire cooking area in a bar. ideally eventually get to experiential dining down the road. But for the time being, we are using it as
small plans. Yeah, nothing
we are
crazy.
using it as an area to get together again and to meet each other and have these hard conversations, because it's not going to end. These difficult things are not going to end with one conversation. It is going to continue to rapidly evolve and change, and we're going to need to check ourselves. We're going to use a tool. We're going to try some things that are new, and this only works when we get everybody's perspective. And so if you're around, November 6th is the next one, but we do these once a month, even through the winter. We'll do it inside, but once a month, generally the first Thursday of the month. So the next one's going to be November 6th. Yeah, from 6 to 8 p.m. It definitely goes later. But yeah, would love to have you there. And if you have any questions, again, feel free to reach out on Instagram or, any social platforms. I love to connect. I love to chat. Obviously, when there is time, ideally it's in person, because you just don't get the same thing that you would if it was just an Instagram DM.
I feel like when people see people on a podcast or on a video, they I think because the way we've been trained growing up, when you see somebody on TV, they're like a celebrity or whatever.
That's not it. Just a human, dude.
Ian, I was gonna say, I as loud and brash and crazy as I can be on the podcast.
Yeah,
I am the most approachable and I'm mouse-like. When I meet somebody new, I'm like, oh, hi, you were talking to me? I'm nobody. You know what I mean? But, and you're very approachable as well. You're very nice. It's very welcoming environment here. And I've met, I would say at the last industry night that I was at, I met at least one person from every role that you could have on a film set. Except the sound person. More sound people should show up.
Yes.
But everybody should show up. But I met and am hiring a production designer that I met.
That's awesome.
It's like, you want to have a community. You want to complain there's no community. You want to complain, how do I make this? Come to something like industry night and actually meet people who are sitting around, eating good food, telling stories, talking about, everything from college to the last set they were on. There are people doing virtual production. There are also people that were video game designers that I met. There's every possible thing you could need. It's like a rap party after a film.
And
that's
we
what
even
it's
have
like.
It's like we have electricians and we have people who are building sets. It's listen, art is everywhere. You can plumb, a building, correctly or beautifully, right? And so it's like there is art found in everything that you do. And so, something that my dad taught me early on was hey, do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. And so it was always confusing to me, because I was just well, how do I find what I love? Well, you find what you love by trying new things. And so the way you try new things is you meet new people that are doing something. And the best part is you might not expect to end up in the scenario or the career you're in, but I guarantee you find somebody who's who's got a fiery passion for something, then why are you so excited about that? And that's what industry night's about. And so if something comes of it, that's fantastic, but the intention behind it is we're getting together so that you can have some time to blow off some steam, because man, we go from production to production to production to production, and there's no gap in between there to connect with people.
And you can't really sit and chat and talk shop while you're on a job.
No,
you know what I mean?
Difficult.
You're working.
Yeah,
that's why you get paid,
and you're getting paid for that.
Right.
If you do get caught talking shop and hey guys, we're paying you. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Right.
Yeah.
So then not all productions have to be like that. Ideally,
but when you're at work, you're working.
Exactly.
That's all. And this is not work. This is a way to gain connect. It's even if it's uncomfortable, there's a lot of filmmakers, a lot of people that are very introverted, and a lot of artsy people are very introverted. They don't like to talk.
They spend time with themselves.
Yeah.
In New Hampshire, New England is especially like that.
Oh, yeah.
We especially in winter, everybody goes in and hibernates.
100%. To look at, I'm like a grizzly. I just, sleep for 3 months. I'll see you in spring. Yeah. But you got to remember, the moment of uncomfortability is the moment of growth. And it's the moment of change. And it's the moment of getting a little bit better.
Something new.
Yeah. And it's very important. Thank you so much for being on. I'm so happy that we did this.
Thank you so much. Well, hope to have another conversation like this. And
anytime you want.
Yes.
I think it's great. All right.
Appreciate it.
Subscribe, and we'll see you next week.